Why is the database so important?
Well, I have a question about that really quick. Are you talking about database with just the leads like from Zillow, or are we talking about how do I make my database to include every freaking person I know, basically is what I want to start adding. So
Okay, you know what? That's a great tee up. 100%. So first off, it's a database is all encompassing, right? So everybody your friends, your family, people you meet at the your Zillow leads should all be in there. And then it's how you have them
okay.
categorized from there. And I'll tell you, here's the right answer of why it's so important. Because you don't want to be taking Zillow leads for the rest of your life. The splits on them suck, and it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I want you with Patrick and I, the whole leadership team wants everybody to be able to come to us within, 2 to 3 years and just say, oh my gosh, thank you guys so much for this amazing opportunity. But you know what? I've built a database now that's just generating me money. That's what we want. First off, database leads or database is leads are better than Zillow leads all day long. And I'm not down in Zillow, believe me. Zillow is the best lead source out there other than a database. However, let's see, a 50-50 split or a 90-10 split. What's better, you guys? Chasing down 10 leads to get one deal or getting one lead and getting a deal?
Yeah.
That's what a database is all about. And that's why it's so important. That is why it's so important. By the way, Lisa, Leslie, do you both have databases?
All I have is my Gmail contacts, which I tried to import into Chime based on the CRV setup, and I was not successful. I ended up getting lost after a while, so got to call Patrick at some point. But that's the only database I have besides Facebook.
Okay. Lisa?
I have not entered anybody into Chime, so I think I need to maybe have like a refresher on how to enter them all in. I don't know if there's like Patrick, if you can guide me in the direction of where to find like step-by-step process, and then I can start entering people in there.
Yeah, I can
Patrick,
send
maybe
go
maybe
ahead.
you can do like a quick little video just so that anybody can, and you're not constantly going one person to one person, maybe, because it's not, believe it or not, I can do it. And if I can do it, like literally anybody can do it because I do not do tech. And I was actually able to import mine into when I switched over to Chime. I was actually able to import mine again. Never thought I could do that. I found it pretty easy, but mine was also in an Excel spreadsheet, which is my next question is like what format, which you kind of both already answered. And there's no right or wrong answer. It really doesn't matter what format. I mean, it kind of does because we're paying for this amazing format called Chime. We pay for that for you guys. That's amazing. I tell you what, I'm old school. I had mine in an Excel spreadsheet until Chime. And the point was, though, I had it. I had one. Now, ask me how much I worked it. That's a whole different story. But the point is, this whole class is growing your database, right? So, when was the last time either one of you, and both of you are newer, so there's no right or wrong answer, but I would rather get interactive and not preach, right? It's easier for me to ask you a question, you answer it, and then we kind of play off of that versus me lecturing. I can do that, but that's no fun. It's not fun for you, it's not fun for me, quite frankly. I like to play around and have fun. So how often do you look at it? When was the last time you looked at any kind of database other than your Zillow leads? Judging by those looks, I'd probably say we haven't.
So with Chime, by the way, because I told Proctor I would get caught up, I've been going in, and today is actually, I was working on that and my Zillow leads and contacting the people that I haven't talked to in a while. I mean, I'm on that little plan, right, of reaching out, various things. But what I'm not doing is anybody in the nurture plan. I know we can do mass emailings. I think I can send stuff from my website. I had my little IT gal who does all my social media stuff. She's a friend of mine. Set it up that if anybody goes onto my website, which I don't know how they would find my website unless I'm telling them about it, where it says get more or contact me, and it has to put their email in, and then it sends me a notice that says, hey, so-and-so wants to talk to you. So that's kind of where I'm at. Other than my Zillow leads, I'm just not even really sure how to use that to market myself.
Well, I can tell you, as far as websites go, I mean, you have some people who are they're too tech, in my opinion. They get in their heads and they think it's all about having a great website and driving traffic to the website. Well, that takes time and money, just like anything else. That's not my thing. My thing is, face-to-face personal
Yeah.
interactions. I'd rather put my energy there, because there's really, two philosophies. Um, and one is, just build this massive database, right? And I'm not here to say that's wrong. That doesn't work for me. I've done, in theory, if you think about this, I've been doing this. This is my 25th year. I've done over 1,000. I've been involved in over 1,000 transactions. I should have a database just by that stat alone of probably at least 2,000. Anybody care to take a guess at how many are in my database?
300, I don't know.
Five
You're
thousand.
close, under 200.
Oh,
And it's because I believe in quality over quantity. And, well, for starters, I never was good about working a database. I wasn't good moving along about getting people into the database. If I didn't care for them or like working with them or think that they didn't like working with me, I kind of discounted them, and I think, I'm not saying that's the right way. I'm saying that was my way, and I'd like to say it worked for me. I mean, I know how much business I do every year, and I know where most of it comes from. And so I would say it worked for me. But that's because I believed in that, and I believed it worked for me, right? Whatever you believe in and go all in on is going to work for you. I've got people who have thousands of people in their database and they have a plan to work that. And it works for them, by the way, and they do plenty. But I would rather get, 20% out of my database of 200 than, 1% out of, or 2% or 5% out of 2,000. It's just my personal way. That's it. There's, again, no right or no wrong. It's having one. So, I'm going to challenge both of you by the end of this month to have your databases, everyone in Chime and categorized. And categorizing, to me, is one of the first steps about building a database. And again, no right or wrong way. I have a very simple way. It's always been this way, is A, B, C. Actually, it's kind of A plus, or A plus, A, B, C. A pluses are like my raving fan clients. I know they talk about me. I know they refer me. I know they buy multiple houses. Those are my A plus clients. So I'm going to work them differently than my A clients. My A clients are people I have done business with, past clients, good friends that I want to do business with, by the way. Oddly enough, usually not family members, because I can tell you I've done business with family too many times, more times than I care to think of, and I won't do business with family ever again. They can call me, ask me for advice, but they need to use another agent. Doing business with family sucks. They expect you to do it for free. They take up all your time. One little hiccup and they're all up your ass, and you're not even making any money on the damn deal. And it's just, I've come to a point where if any family member calls me, I will literally say, you need to go find a good agent in your, and then you can run anything and everything by me. I will absolutely, and then you're giving them advice. They can't be upset with you for anything, really, in that case. It's just not worth the money. Some people get caught up in like, oh, well, it's still a few bucks, or I can do a favor. I won't do it. But then again, also too, I also have some very severed relationships in my families because of doing deals. That's why I don't do them anymore. Because like I said, oddly enough, they expect, and I give my family great deals, but I don't do it for free. I literally don't. And it's just, and I can tell you stories for days. I won't, because this is not that class. So again, so B's are, and then B's are people who I would call people I know, people I've met, never done a deal with them, never referred me, but you know, I'm going to touch them every now and then, maybe once a quarter. You know, my A pluses, I'm probably touching a couple times a month. My A's, I better be touching, which once a month. You know, the B's maybe every quarter. And then I have my C's, and those are basically people maybe I've never met, or people that, you know, are in Zillow that I rejected, but I still want on there. Or for me, maybe somebody I met at a party and, you know, just they said, hey, yeah, I would love to talk to you about real estate sometime, or, you know, what have you. So I'm trying to keep up on Patrick's, feel free to send me help.
Don't worry, that's just for records. Don't worry about that. It's just chime stuff.
Okay. Gotcha. So, you know, having a way, and there's several ways that you, in Chime, I believe you can categorize and tag. So there's different ways. Like I have A, B, and C, but even in the A's, I have family, friend, crew, you know, the guys I ride with. You know, those are my A pluses. Those guys, you know, like I have a tight group of, you know, 8 buddies, and they all, you know, I've done multiple deals with all of them. So, you know, it's, and also too, both you have kids in school. So being involved, everyone you're involved with, you know, Leslie, I know you're into racing. You know, all those in the groups and where you hang out. And you know, Lisa, I believe you're into CrossFit, or you know, wherever you tend to be and hang out, those are the people who you should be getting in your database. And then once they're in your database, to me, the whole goal is, how do I, you know, how do I get the A's to A pluses? How do I get the B's to A's? How do I get the C's to B's, and kind of funneling them through? And for me, it's easier to have a database of, you know, I believe depending on the amount of business you want to do, if you had a database of 120 to 150 and you worked it right, you should be doing a minimum of 12 a year, probably closer to 18 a year. That's my belief. I've had a database of about 150 to 200. It varies depending on what year it is, because I purge every year. And I will tell you that I would, you know, most, I'd say 85% of my business in the past, up until these last few years, has always been centers of influence, which database, right? Centers of influence, past clients.
What are you
So,
sending them, by the way?
you know what? That's a whole different class, working your
Okay,
database. And we do have that class. I don't want to get too
okay,
far off on that.
okay.
Because I can tell you, I was doing that kind of business with not even a good plan to work it. Chime has a great plan. Patrick and I, hopefully this month, our goal, we said our goal was last month, it didn't happen. This month, for sure, by the end of next month, we're going to have a full plan for my database that includes working the A's, B's, and C's, and the A pluses, and how often you should touch them and what you should touch them with. And when we have that, you will all have that, by the way.
With little holiday templates and such things like that as well. So
Literally our goal, because I mean, Chime knows Patrick. Patrick knows Chime intimately. I don't. And you know, with what I do, I have to sometimes leverage things off, and that's one of them. And it's always been kind of low on the totem pole. And working a database and keeping it updated usually gets pushed down to the bottom of the pile with any good realtor, because if you're good in sales, you're out there selling, right? That's what we want to do. We want to be out there selling, not dealing with this other stuff. But I know Patrick and I and Gina Marie have looked at my business, and my database has such a giant gap in it where money is just flowing through it. You know, we got to shore that up, because we've defined my business moving forward as only doing about 18 a year. And, you know, that's nothing for me. I average over 40 a year normally, and I've taken a total mind shift to be here for all you agents and grow the business. And I'll be a business owner first and a real estate agent second. But I've got this valuable database of people who know me, love me, trust me, and will refer me from doing this for so long. So what we want to do is we want to shore up mine. We've identified the clients that here's who I will work with, here's who I won't. But I still want to market to them and get them to the table because I can do a handoff to the agents. Why not? That's just, I mean, it's crazy of me to not do that. So thank you, Patrick. We're trying to get that. And by the way, Patrick's doing everything. He's waiting on me. The ball's in my court right now to go through my database and do what I need to do for him. So I will own that. It's really been sitting in my on my desk probably for the last 3 months. So Patrick is Patrick's bomb. I'm usually the clog in the system. All right. So again, categorizing, and then just, you know, understanding how you define your categories. So as you meet people, talk to people, close deals with people, you know where to categorize them.
And in Chime, we have several tags already, like Wes was mentioning, like A client, B client, C client, family, friends. But you can also add your own tags in Chime.
Yes.
So if you go, just like adding, you know, when we have to add a nurture tag, when you go to nurture, if you go to hit plus and type in a tag and it doesn't exist, it will say a little plus sign below, like add tag. So you can add your own private tags. It can be whatever, book club, soccer field, you know, open house, 123 Main Street,
Racing
whatever.
family.
Yeah.
You know,
Cowboys fans. I might
rats.
delete that one, but might delete the Cowboys one, but yeah, you can try that.
Yeah, no Cowboys fans. We'll go in there and find it and sabotage it.
It does have to be a Z client.
If I have any Cowboys fans, if I ever find any of me, I'll refer them to you, Leslie.
Okay, ditto. Maybe. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, well, you have a harder time finding I still say Redskins. I don't care. Commander
too.
fans.
I know. Well, one of my clients, they were huge Niner fans, but they had a black Mustang like mine, and they knew I was a Cowboys fan. And like we bonded over football, and they're just the coolest people. They bought in Brentwood. You went over there and showed me how to do that, Avid, and we keep in touch, and it's just fun. So, you know,
Cool.
sometimes that's a good way to bond with people.
So one thing is, does everybody belong in your database? I already see Suzanne going, nope. I don't,
No.
there's people who aren't in my database because maybe because I know they won't work with me, or maybe I assume that, but maybe I don't want to work with them. You know, I mean, and there is some truth to that. I got done with a client and, you know, he bought another house, but I just, you know, he kept inviting me to parties and I didn't show up. And after the last party I missed, he bought another house with someone else. And I mean, it's like, I finally got to a point in my life where I don't look at people as a sale or a deal anymore. It's like, I really don't care for these people and I don't want to work with them. By the way, it was in the millions of dollars that this house was, but it's like, is that worth it to me just to maintain a friendship with this person and go to these parties that I really don't want to be at for the business? Not anymore. There was a time, I will say that, there was a time, sure, where it's like, okay, I can stomach that, because I'm growing the business. Now I'm at where I want to be and I don't need to do that anymore. Right. But I probably still could have been passed them on. No, because that means going and socializing and all this stuff. So maybe they don't. And there's no right or wrong answer, you guys. There never is. This is your database. You got to feel good about it. You got to be willing to work it. And by the way, to me, if you're not willing to pick up the phone and call somebody, they're probably a C client. That's just a little bit of help for categorizing them. Yeah, system and filing, and then scheduled. Here's the other thing. Like I said, I'm going to challenge both of you to get these done by the end of this month. And I'm going to challenge, I'm actually going to commit to getting ours done by the end of this month. How's that? Patrick, write this down. Let's see. You guys want to have a challenge? How about this, Patrick? I know Suzanne. I will write a $250 check to each one of you if I don't have my database purged and recategorized for Patrick by the end of this month. You think it's going to
Gonna
get
have
done
it
this
done
month?
next week.
You're darn right. But see, that's the level of commitment. If you want something done, I mean, you gotta, for me, I gotta put pain points to it, right? Like I'm publicly saying, I'll write each one of you a check for $250. Do I want to drop $1,000? No, I really don't. So guess what? It'll get done now. Where I've had every excuse for the last 3 months for Patrick. So sometimes for me, I have to put my money where my mouth is. If I find myself avoiding something, usually I'll put a dollar amount to it that will hurt, that will sting if I don't do it, and I'll commit to somebody or something or publicly, and I'll do it, you know. Like I had a coach one time who literally was like, and I'm not going to get into politics here, but they said, Wes, if you don't do, she says, I want you to send me a check made out to X political party for $2,000 and post dated on this date. If you don't have this done, I'm sending it. I'm like, oh, heck no, techno. And guess what? It got done. So, I mean, that's the way it's that level of commitment. Like everything, once you get it there, to me, I feel you should have time in your schedule, either every day, every week, or every month, where what I used to do is I kept a file. You guys see, I always have like, I'm still old school. I love yellow pads. I love files. I used to carry a file with me all the time, and I would just drop a piece of paper in my file with somebody's contact information. And then whenever I felt like it was usually about once a month, I go in and put it in my spreadsheet, which was my database back then. I think it's easier, and then for a while I had a team and I had an assistant. It was like, I would just give them the information every day and they would input it. Now I'm going to probably be, once Patrick and I get it updated, I'll probably shoot an email over to Patrick and he'll put it in for me. I hope, because Patrick's just an amazing guy and I love the guy. He's like, Wes, you're creating more work for me. No, because I'm really not looking to grow my database that much. I'm really looking to get it dialed in and just maintain the crap out of it and work the crap out of it, because your database is a pot of gold if you do it right. It really is. It can be just a cash. And with Chime, oh my gosh, it's a lot of front end work to get it set up. Once you got it set up, it's almost no work. It's so easy. So easy. So anyway, coming up with a schedule, everything to me is task management, right? And putting it in to where it becomes a habit of getting those in there. And once a year, I literally go through it and say, who haven't I called? Who haven't I touched bases with? Or what do I know about these? And I try and purge it a little bit, because I like to keep it at about a certain number. And I always look at it this way, like I said, and it's usually coming out of my C clients that I purge the most. And in my B clients, if they get to a point where I'm uncomfortable picking up the phone and just calling them and saying, hey, it's probably a good time to purge them. But then before I do that, I'll usually use slide dial, send them a message, see if I hear back. Slide dial, guys. Don't ever feel uncomfortable about calling somebody.
That's what it was. Okay.
Slide dial them. That way they hear your voice. You leave them a message. You don't have to worry about talking to them unless they call you back. And if they call you back, you should want to talk to them, because that means they're calling you back. They still like you, or they got something to say. All makes sense so far? Any questions so far?
There's got to be a way to pull the, I don't know, 1,500 contacts from my iPhone into a spreadsheet or download them. Anybody know how to do that I could input the phone contacts into Chime?
Googling now. I'll have an answer.
Of course. Patrick, I love you. You guys should all love Patrick. You guys, I hope
We
he
do.
is. I hope everybody in WR, I hope they have Patrick on their Christmas list for gifts and not me. Because that guy right there, and Suzanne, because she's going to make sure you get paid, and Patrick gets you all the answers.
Perfect.
So going down the list. So again, we kind of touched on this about, who should be in your database. And that's pretty much friends, family, and everyone you do business with. You know, your hairdresser, your manicurist, maybe, I don't know. Most of them don't speak English, but and who knows the shit they're talking about you that you don't even know. You know, like whoever you take your dry cleaning to, why wouldn't you have them? You know, Gina Marie is really good. She'll sometimes do Popeyes at places we frequent, and every year, we do our fun cards. Well, and I always thought this was dorky, but it actually really works. She sends our pop-up cards to like all the restaurants and coffee shops and every place we frequent and go to, the dentist, she sends those. And I'm like, really? The restaurant, the bar, whatever. Sure enough, man, you go into those places and what do you see? Our card. Or what do people do? Come up and say, oh my gosh, that was just, I loved it, blah, blah. You know what? Matt, I got to give a lot of props to Gina Marie, because she's bold. She's out there. She doesn't care. I mean, she cares so much that she doesn't care what anybody thinks or says. It's like, you know what? They know us. They see us. I'm doing this. They need to know us. They need to know what we do. They need to know we appreciate them and acknowledge them. Like, okay. If it was me and left them out of court, would never happen. Or I wouldn't go that far to do that. And she does, like literally. And I think it's great. So, again, church groups, the gym, wherever you hang out, whoever you socialize with, whatever your circles are, they need to be in your database. And to me, I found that, any group I'm in, there's usually one or two that are, I would probably say, are A's. The rest of them are usually B's. But try and identify that. Because again, you want to kind of handle everybody a little differently. One thing you can do, and I haven't done in a lot of years, is at the beginning of the year, one of the things you do is you do a coffee meeting with all your A clients or A plus clients. Depends on how many you have. You got to be careful. And, you just set the tone, say, hey, want to buy a cup of coffee and talk a little business. So you set the tone. They already know you're going to be talking about business. And you say, you know what? Gosh, Suzanne, I appreciate you meeting with me. Hope you had a great holiday season. I know you had a great holiday season, blah, 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 blah. And just really wanted to share with you, this year I have a goal of helping 18 families buy or sell homes. And I was hoping that I could count on you for, at least one referral this year. Because I like doing people with people I respect, and I respect you, and I know like attracts like. And if somebody tells you that, are you gonna be like, well, that's kind of cheesy to ask me that? No, you're stroking their ego, you're lifting them up. And you're not asking them to be exclusive. Do you say, hey, can I count on you for one referral for this year? I might even say, hey, I know you know a lot of realtors, and but I would love it if I could count on you for, I do consider you a great friend, and I know you have a lot of choices. I would love it if you could just get me one referral. That's the power of having the database, having it categorized, and then having a plan to work it. That right there is one of the most powerful things, because now you're enrolling other people and you're not being a secret agent. You're letting them know what you're up to. And does that sound greedy? I have a goal to do 18, or whatever your goal is. Can I count on you for one referral? Man, you're putting that on their radar. That's going to be top of mind. And you just said, I respect you enough that I want to do business with people like you. Yep. It's powerful stuff, you guys.
Yeah.
And that's the power of a database and having it categorized. And then again, I go through it and purge it annually. And I usually set a goal. How many do I want to have in this database? Or how many do I want to get rid of sometimes, and what's going to be my bar for doing that? Because again, not that it's wrong to just keep growing your database. Completely different philosophy. Whenever I teach, I want you guys to, or whenever we train, I want you guys to know that I'm training on what works for me. I'm training on what I believe in. I'm not training and saying my way is the only way or this is the right way. It's not. It's just the right way for me, and it's been the right way for me. And there is no To me, there is no wrong way. It's finding what works for you. But that's how you grow your database. First off, you got to get one. You got to get it into a system where you actually have it. And then growing it is every time you talk to someone and get their, by the way, what constitutes a contacting your database? For them to go in your database and be part of your database, a workable database, what do you have to have? 3 things.
Their
Okay.
email, phone number, address.
Yep,
Address?
exactly.
Did you say address needed?
She did. And by the way, if you only have 2 of those, I still put them there and say, hey, you know what? Like I got to go through my thing and update it too. I mean, I'm missing a few things. It's a great time to touch your clients. Hey, going through and updating my database and just realized, I've got your phone number, but I don't have your email or your address, or for any of those, it's just a great way to touch.
Okay.
Yeah, and I might add in, if it's okay, I wouldn't hesitate to add someone in your database just because you don't have their address. So it's still, I would still recommend you put them in there because you can utilize the phone and the email with automation and Chime. And then like Wes said, and then you reach out. You could also say, hey, I'd like to do pop-bys, or if I'm in the neighborhood, or drop off some educational content, or whatever it may be. If maybe they just bought, well, if they just bought, you should have their address if they bought with you. But also for market reports, let's say down the line, they want to start getting snapshots of their nearby market activity to keep an eye on their home valuation, stuff like that. So there's ways you can pitch it.
Yep. And you do want to have a good way of working it. And by the way, you want to keep in close touch with people you sell houses to, especially that first year. Because I got to tell you, you'd be surprised. It's a small percentage, but there is a percentage of people that don't even make it a year before they realize, you know what, I got a job transfer. You know what, this isn't quite the house for us. And I've had several people that, I waited over a year to contact, come back around to, and then it's like, hey guys, how you doing? Oh, we're doing great. Yeah, we moved again. I'm like, okay, good for you. The heck? I mean, it can happen if you're not, and it's if you think that just because somebody's in your database or somebody's your friend or somebody's used you before, that it's just a given that they'll use you or use you again, think again. You literally have to always remain top of mind. Literally. Because if you're not, someone else will be. And if they're more top of mind than you when that time comes, and I'll tell you what, there is almost nothing worse in this business than somebody you think is your friend or your past client and a great client, and that would use you and would be loyal to you, and all of a sudden you find out they sold, or you drive down the street and see a sale sign in their yard. That sucks. It's like pull out the knife,
Yeah.
please. And I always look at it like, okay, how good a touch did I keep with them? And it's like, I did. That happened to me, I don't know, quite a few years ago, but they were on my A+ list. And I was doing pop buys, literally pulled up to do a pop buy. It's like, there's somebody else's sign in their yard. I'm like, what the? And I called them like, hey, why? And I usually, I don't usually I don't get aggressive. I'm not a real confrontational person. Just because to me, it's like most of the time it's like, okay, I'm going to go look in the mirror first. Yep, I haven't talked to them in a long time. Yep, I lost touch. But these people I'm dropping off stuff to every month. So that warranted a dang call.
Yeah.
I never got a call back. So
That's too bad. Yeah.
it is, but it happens. So any Patrick, you want to add anything? Because Patrick's on here mainly, number one, we all support each other, but also two, he's the Chime guy. Database should be in Chime.
Yeah, no, I don't have a lot. I'm actually looking into this. I'm going to send you guys how to export your iPhone contacts, but no, just like Wes said, getting it categorized, getting it in there. And then if you want, should you get it in a spreadsheet? Obviously, you can individually enter leads, but more efficiently if you have a group of them or a chunk of them, to get them in a CSV file. And then, yeah, you can obviously refer to the instructions or just get a hold of me, and it can be, I mean, it's probably a 5 to 10 minute Zoom tops, as long as you have your file ready. You just want to make sure when you, as far as Chime, a few things you want to be careful that you don't enter them as just, Chime might try to read them just as leads and automatically set up property alerts and welcome emails, and then you got to back out all that stuff. So in the settings, you want to be careful, and then you can tag them as you import them. So that's the only other thing I'd recommend is if you have, let's say you have a file of 300 leads and 100 of them are just family and 100 are friends, and another 100 are maybe, like client from different groups or random. Probably want to put them in 3 different spreadsheets and input them separately, because as you input them, you can tag them all at once. You can put them all in the same group if you want it, or like do it all kind of as a mass import. So that would be a lot more efficient, because if you import 300 leads and then you got to go through and tag them all individually, you just created another job you're not going to want to do. And we're going to have to do another challenge next month to tag all the leads you got in, and just creates this kind of overwhelming, not exciting job. So if you have any questions when you get to that point, or you just want to make sure you're doing it right, just get a hold of me and I'll make sure to help, that we can walk through it. And then the only other little tidbit, just because we ran into an issue with this last year, is I know we're focusing on database here, but we've had some agents wanting to import like tons of really cold leads. Maybe they're from like a title company or a lawyer or whatever, some random lead source. Definitely reach out to me then, because we don't want to we got to do that very delicately, because if you mass email a bunch of people that haven't opted in, and also like that maybe their emails are bad, so they bounce and or they immediately spam you or decline it, that can flag your whole account. So I know that's not really on database, but that's something it's hard to make everybody aware of, but I want to make sure you guys don't do that. But yeah, other than that, then it's like Wes said, we're gonna, for his team, for his database, building out content and more plans that can help kind of nurture these leads and help you stay top of mind. And then it's as simple as, even just adding little quarterly call plans that remind you to reach out to them. And
you can literally duplicate everything I do. You don't have to recreate anything. We're doing all the heavy lifting, all the work. And it blows my mind how, for our A+ clients, we do the spot buys, and Gina Marie, is willing to do a lot of the work for that. And it's amazing how many people don't take advantage of that. Like, it's so simple. You don't have to create anything. We're creating it all, because this is what we should be doing. So this is how we keep ourselves accountable, and we don't want anybody to have to recreate it. So anyway, any questions, comments? Do you guys find this helpful, useful in any way?
Yep. And timely, because that's what I've been working on this week. So
Awesome.
good. Thank you.
Awesome. And I might even say, Leslie, I know it'd be really, hang on one second, Suzanne, might be really time consuming for you, but you might even want to go through your thing first instead of importing, what'd you say, 1,500 or whatever.
Yeah,
that's
a lot.
And I'm sure not everybody in there, or maybe there. Go ahead, Suzanne.
It's just from years of people that I've worked with and done business with, and my friends, and everybody. So
I've got the same problems looking at my phone. I don't know how many. I think I'm close to 1,000 in my phone. And it's like, okay, I got to go through and purge that, because that's just years of stuff. And there's people who I don't even know.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah, you
Suzanne.
download that app. If you download that app, it will tell you how many contacts you have. I didn't realize I have 519.
3,583.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Yeah, that's
Dang.
Okay.
Suzanne,
Popular.
I was just gonna say something that I have heard is a really good thing to do. Also, if you guys are developing relationships, mostly it happens kind of when you're on the selling side. If the other agent is kind of dropping the ball and not doing a great job, and you somehow develop some correspondence and a good relationship with the other client, even though they're not technically your client, but once you close escrow, you can add them to your own database. So if you have the listing and the buyer's agent just kind of is dropping the ball and not doing so great, and you've, developed a rapport with, those clients, you can add them to your database. There's nothing that says you can't do that, and vice versa. If you're showing properties as a buyer's agent and the listing agent just isn't really around much, and you develop some kind of relationship with the sellers, add them to your database later and just keep in touch.
That's actually
Absolutely.
You could, so a couple of things on that little idea, like if you represent a buyer and you sell, like somehow if you got their address or even just email, you could send them a thank you afterwards. And that's just a small little touch that might open the door. And then B, if you're a listing agent, I think it's a great idea after you sell to a buyer to make sure they're happy. I mean, you might open a can of worms if there's some issues with the house or anything that you didn't do real well and close out smoothly, but that's a great way to do a touch. And like, I know one of my weaknesses was following up with my past clients. So if you're doing that, I bet 90% of the actual other agents aren't, and you're already like positioning yourself. And then, yeah, who knows, you add them to your database and do a touch every here and there. You actually, might gain a lot right there. That's a really great call.
Nice. Anything else? And you guys, thanks for participating. Thanks for showing up. I always know
you.
who's going to be the most successful in this business by how much they show, by, who's showing up on a regular basis. I really appreciate the two of you. And, Lisa, I got you on my calendar for Thursday, so that's good. Leslie, anything you need from any of us?
Nope, I'm good. I'll be there tomorrow for the meeting, and then have a showing at 2 in Dublin. So
What meeting
I
will you
won't-
be here for tomorrow?
isn't tomorrow our first Wednesday?
It is, but tomorrow's Ledge Day, so we bumped it by a week. So Patrick, we might want to
Oh,
put something out on Slack, just one final reminder, maybe tonight or tomorrow morning.
it's just automatic for me to think first Wednesday. Okay,
No,
well,
that's good. That's good, and that's what we want. That's why we do things the way we do them, so they're very easy and automatic and very habit forming. So, it's like, okay,
okay,
I know the first Wednesday, I know every Wednesday, I know, and same time. So yeah.
okay, we'll bump it.
Yeah, usually
Okay,
it is
so
that
it's
way.
next Wednesday. Okay,
Usually it is that way. We just had a 5-week month, and then there happened to be an event tomorrow with our legislative day that Monica's supposed to be putting out more details, either via email or Slack today.
okay,
So we bumped everything back a week essentially.
okay.
I have a
Yep,
question
yep.
off topic. Do we always, and I don't mind doing it, I just don't want to overwhelm either of you guys. Do we always have to touch base before we turn somebody to nurture, or do we just always make sure that we detailed the notes?
Just detail the notes. I mean,
Okay.
if you're questioning it, we're more than happy to kind of walk through it and advise you.
Okay.
But we pretty much trust everybody. Good notes
Okay.
helps, because then we can go in and know everything. And you got to know that, I mean, Zillow, literally, they have so many people that work for them. They're monitoring everything. They look at our notes, they listen to our calls. They're even on our Slack channel. So they're, very well aware of everything going on. And I love it. It caters to how Patrick and I are, which is very transparent and open book. It's just kind of a nice way to do business. And we know it's not from a micromanaging standpoint. It's really from a place of wanting to ensure success and, looking for ways and places to help level up.
Yeah, and generally, Lisa, so it's like if you talk to somebody, let's say you're gonna leave today and they tell you they're 12 months away, whatnot, that qualifies as a nurture. Like somebody who's, if you qualify them as being 3+ months out, goes into nurture. And we don't really have a set rule for this, but we're kind of trying to, or a standard or a suggestion, but it's more or less like you're trying them at least, 4 to 6 weeks of trying to engage with them and qualify them and not getting anything, they can go and nurture. In Chime, technically, if you our initial plans are 90 days. And then if you complete them and nothing happens, they don't engage, you don't change them. It automatically moves them to re-engage, which is essentially nurture for somebody we haven't qualified. So, and I might change that so it aligns better, but that's the idea. It's not, we try not to throw them in nurture too early. If we pretty much try to qualify them for at least 45 days before we put them in nurture or, do qualify them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Cool, guys. Well, good stuff. Really good stuff. You guys have a great rest of the day. You need anything, we are all always available to you. And have a great rest of your day.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. All right,
Thanks,
talk to you
y'all.
guys later.
Have a great week. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.